last term was quite successful, I think, for our club, so I'm sure that Noah will be able to kick us off to another good term now. I'd like to thank particularly Jenny Wallace, who's here tonight, because she's worked very hard to make our club successful last term. I'm sure that will be, if it's a success this term, it's going to be thanks to Jenny Wallace. So thank you, Jenny. Okay, we're going to have 4 presentations this term, so I'll just get a little bit of information about that on the way first. I just first like to say the schedule's a little bit jumbled, so the next one will be next week, same time next week, rather than the 2-week gap we usually have. And then will be a 3-week gap, and then the usual 2 weeks. So our next one after Noir will be Fran Tracy, who I believe is here tonight, not remembering him. Dr. Tracy is going to talk about UNESCO's and higher education. Next, the 3 weeks after that, we're going to have Craig Alexander, who's come over from the States, in fact, and he's going to be talking about archaeology, that's his research. And the final one will be Deborah Hayden, who's also among us, and he's going to be talking about language and law in okay, so on to Noir tonight. Noir, the college from Jerusalem, many of you will know it already as the hard-working president of RCI. She has an undergraduate degree from Brigham Young University in Utah. It was in bioinformatics. She did her MPhil in biological sciences here at Cambridge, and is now studying for her PhD, which she expects to and that's in the Department of Zoology, but I was very keen to stress that this doesn't mean that she has anything to do with animals or seeds. So.
Ask about insurance. She worked in a zoo.
True. So hopefully Noir's presentation this evening will highlight a bit more specifically what she studies and what she's going to be contributing to the research. So that's more than enough for me, I think, and I'll hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thanks everyone for coming. It's an honor to have you here. Okay, as you're sitting here, a mysterious person walks in the room. You see him. He sees you. And then you feel thunder and lightning. You get so dizzy, and life seems to be not the same. Well, what makes people get attracted to each other? Is there a method for this madness? Well, here are a few answers for you to hear.
Something in there says that it's right.
Through things like smell each other,
Through a shared common
Body language?
it's mostly chemical, or genetics. The chemist who just clicks and he knows that she's the one he has.
it's skill, but actually it's
By the first sight,
by the way they look.
It's an instant attraction when you see someone. I mean, I really don't know what it is that we great mysteries. Though I have heard some people say that it has something to do with our genes. And I must say I find that answer very confusing. To say the least, that leaves many questions open. For example, is it only blue genes? Or is it any color? Or perhaps even black? Also, what about those trousers that are sort of in between corduroys and jeans? And perhaps most importantly, what did people do before the invention of jeans in 1873? How did things work back then? What did people do? I think these are all legitimate questions that need an answer, and I'm glad Noir will be addressing this.
Okay, so we've heard first sight and genes. Well, what is this all about? Here in Cambridge, and to be more specific in the Eco Pub, a Cambridge graduate student in 1953, Francis Crick, and a research fellow, James Watson, announced a breakthrough discovery. It was the discovery of the DNA, which I guess we all know is the home of our genes. Now, it's worth mentioning that the interest in the fields of genetics can be traced as far back as the 1700s, when there were attempts to figure out the origin of species. And then Darwin came in the 1800s to publish the book about the origin of species, and it came with all these theories explaining how humans evolved and how our genetics evolve and adapt to the surroundings. And then after that came Mendel, who did a lot of experiments on inheritance and gave us an idea on how genes are transferred from parents to the children. Now, again, in 1953, this major discovery was a big transition in the field of genetics, and it opened doors to all kinds of research, knowing what the DNA looks like. And after that, there's been a lot of research going on, and then scientists were able to show that our genetics influence the way we get attracted to each other. It plays a big role in mate selection and the way people get attracted to each other. Now, Professor Michalko says, our research has shown clearly that it is the differences that make for successful reproduction. Well, what differences is he referring to? What does successful reproduction have to do with those differences? And that takes us to the gene I'm working on for my PhD. It's called the human leukocyte antigen, known as HLA. It's also called major histocompatibility complex, but this is a general term in vertebrates, whereas my research focuses on the human gene, so therefore HLA. My talk will not be about mate selection and human attractions. It will basically be on the diversity of the HLA in world populations. And this diversity is maintained by mate selection. And we'll get into that later in the talk. Okay, the approach I use to look at the diversity in the human leukocyte antigen is population genetics. In population genetics, you gather data from worldwide populations, you look at the frequencies of genes in those populations, and you try to analyze why they became different in different populations, how the frequencies changed in terms of evolutionary processes. This is a snapshot of my screen. You can see how I gather data from all sorts of populations, allele frequencies, and then the sequences. And I try to analyze that by looking at this evolutionary process. We have 4 evolutionary processes that we focus on in population genetics, one of which is mutations. Mutations occur in genes, and that's when something goes wrong in the genetic code. So instead of having an A in this site, you end up with a C, and that gives you a different protein, therefore gives you a mutant type of whatever you're looking at. For example, this apple. Now, natural